And we are live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Whenever you're listening, wherever you're listening, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I figured this is probably gonna be a little bit of a shorter show, but I feel like I owe it to you guys to give you a little bit of entertainment and come on here and just talk shit for a little bit. Not really talk shit, but just kind of come on and give everybody a quick show because I did not do my Sunday coffee podcast yesterday morning. As people I'm sure hopefully saw on Twitter or Facebook that I've had quite an action-packed weekend and it was just beyond words. I can't even describe um how awesome this past weekend was. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and obviously I want to talk about the charity that I'm not necessarily associated with, but I've been more than blessed with to play a number of events through them. But real quick before we start diving into all that and before I talk about the weekend, make sure you hit that button down below if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe, check out the channel, all that good stuff. We're going to view some members only videos. I'm going to let you in on that, and then you can see those if you just pay that little $2.99 a month. Shout out to Alex and Abrogate These for being channel members for a little over a month when I launched them. You guys will get access to all of the A Common Crown performances that I record, good, bad, ugly, whatever. If you so choose to become a channel member for, once again, the lowly price of $2.99 a month. All the links are below for Rock for Life, where you can donate if you feel like you want to donate to the most wonderful charity around. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And go over to tigerfitness.com through the link below to let the guys over there know that I sent you. Get the best supplements, the stuff that I use every single day, and that I recommend that you use if you're working out and really hitting the weights hard like I do. And Falcon Sons Coffee, use code Kyle at checkout to let Steven know that I sent you and get some absolutely wonderful coffee. I have the Brazil Honey Prep laying right here underneath the desk. But that's enough rambling right here in the beginning. Um, let's get into it. And one more time, I just want to wish everybody good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever, wherever you're listening. Hopefully, you're doing absolutely well. I had just one of the most great weekends ever, and I hope everybody else had a fantastic weekend as well. So in case you don't know or you're new around here, I happen to play for a band called A Common Crown. It is a very, very big passion of mine. I always say that if I could play music, do this podcast, and maybe do like personal training on the side for a living, I would probably be the happiest person on the face of the planet. Unfortunately, this stuff doesn't pay the bills. Maybe one day. That day is definitely not today. Although I did get my podcast payout. It's not enough to cover all the bills, unfortunately. I still have to turn wrenches for a living, which I enjoy to a degree, but it's not. It's more of a means to an end than it is necessarily a way to live my life in the most joyous way possible. They pay me enough to shut the hell up and just show up to work every day. So, but that being said, I've played with a Common Crown now for 6 years. Is it? I believe it's about 6 years. Um, I joined the band. Well, maybe I should start with my musical history. I know I've probably covered this in other podcasts and other shows and stuff like that, but I started playing guitar when I was probably about 12 years old, and I'm 29 now. I picked up the guitar and I just wanted to play fast. So I picked it up and just started plucking the strings, going up and down the fretboard as fast as I could, as ferociously as I could, to just make some cool noises because I thought that was cool. And I broke all the strings and I put it down for a year or two. And then I remember picking up my younger brother's guitar, and my stepmom at the time had said, why don't you, you know, I think she told my dad, why don't you get him strings or something so he quits playing that guitar? So naturally, my dad did get me some strings for my guitar, and I started playing it. So I remember this was probably around when Metallica's, oh, what the hell? Death Magnetic came out, and I remember learning like The Day That Never Comes, that solo at the end. That sounds really fast, but it's actually really, really easy to play, and it's actually kind of like a cool little solo at the end. I remember learning that, lots of Megadeth, Pantera, all like the big metal bands, the ones that everybody knows. I learned a lot of that stuff and, just kind of kept on the grind there. So, um, from there on, I was pretty serious about it. I would practice all the time. I remember me and my one buddy TJ would sit in my room for just hours on end trying to learn how to do pinched harmonics, which for those who aren't guitar players, go pause this podcast right now because I'm going to make your day so much better if you haven't heard the song before. But pause it right now and go listen to Cemetery Gates. They have this little acoustic intro and you hear like some solos and stuff in the beginning, and then they have like this dive, and then it goes right into the pinch harmonics. Da 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 da. Of course, I pay my respects to Dime, but those are pinch harmonics, and you have to like strike the string with the pick and your thumb in like one motion. You'll once you hear that sound, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's basically like just makes a real cool squeal sound. I remember we just sat down in my room for hours and just tried to do that. And then same deal with sweep picking. So sweep picking is when you kind of like sweep the strings in a motion where you would kind of do like a chord shape and you would move your fingers along with the sweep. So like if you would start on, let's say the G, you would go. I can't even remember the strings right now. But anyways, basically you would go in a sweeping motion to cover a couple strings and move your fingers along with the strings. We would just sit in the room for hours and try to learn guitar techniques. So I mean, we were super, 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 super dedicated. So that was probably when I was like 14 or 15, and we learned how to scream, we learned how to play pinched harmonics, we learned how to sweep pick, and we just beat the shit out of our hands till our fingers would bleed, and we got the calluses and everything that still serve me well to this day, beyond just playing guitar. So we learned to do that stuff, and then obviously went to college and everything like that. I had a whole bunch of friends that played in bands, and I was always very, very, very envious. I'm like, man, I remember playing Guitar Hero and them saying, for the one character that, oh, I can't remember her name, but they're like, oh yeah, she played her first show and she was like 17 years old. I'm like, man, I would love it if I could do that. But unfortunately, I never did. I had friends who were like 13 and 14 years old that were out there playing music and just crushing it when they were like, yeah, 13 or 14 years old. And I'm like, man, I wish it was me, but unfortunately it wasn't. So, um, kind of moving on from there, I moved out to college, and I remember my college roommates at the time, because we had four people in like this small apartment. They looked at me like I was crazy because I rolled in an amp and everything. But eventually I ended up taking that one back home, and I just had like a small little practice amp. And I didn't play too much. I would just occasionally pick it up. I bought a Paul Reed Smith that I kind of kicked myself in the ass for selling, but I absolutely love that guitar, and I played it when I was in college. I think I had a few others at home, but kept going on, and then I got out of college, and I remember it was probably November of 2016. I think Tommy and I actually talked about this when I was on his show last, funny enough. But me and him both, Tommy and I both saw this tour, but it was Hell Yeah, In Flames, I think From Ashes to New. I know there was somebody else on that tour, but I just can't remember who it was. But I went and saw that tour, and I saw this guy Mike, who I knew from a very, very long time ago. And like, hey, yeah, you know me because our mutual friend Shane. And we started shooting the shit. He's like, yeah, well, we're looking to start another band, like a stoner metal band, and we're looking for a guitar player. So I was like, oh yeah, well, yeah, let me know. I'll gladly try out. So sure enough, things kind of worked out, and we ended up jamming together, and that started the band Wretched Hive. Nuke, what's up, man? Good to see you. Um, so we started my band called Wretched Hive, which I played in from 2017 until about 2000. Spruce up the background. No, I actually didn't. This is my backlighting. There's actually less stuff in the background. Funny enough, my amp is in the back of my car right now. I still haven't emptied everything out from this weekend. I've been super busy all weekend, but now the backlighting complements it, and the lighting, from the outside probably is making it look a little bit different. But oh, you know what? There might be. I feel like those posters are new. You know what? Maybe when I was on your show, I didn't have these. Where is it? Those two. Maybe, maybe not. I know I've had them on since I've been on Post Zero. Um, but we played in that band Wretched Hive. We had two different singers. There were kind of like two different eras, and that kind of got my feet wet with the local music scene around here in Pittsburgh. We opened for Byzantine twice, which was really, really cool. Um, and if you haven't heard of them, they're from like West Virginia, and they've been around since like the late 90s, early 2000s. They actually used to play shows together with Lamb of God. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you, man. But I'm going to be getting into us a little bit later, but so Byzantine was around with like Lamb of God in the early 2000s because they were both from West Virginia, or like Virginia area, if I remember correctly. But when I was in Wretched Hive, we opened for them twice, once with our original singer and then once with our second singer. And both shows were a lot of fun. And that was pretty surreal for me to open for like a kind of like a bigger national act. And that was 2018. Yeah, I want to say 2018, 2017. Um, and there came a point towards the end of my tenure in Wretched Hive where I was playing in a cover band as well. So both those situations kind of fell apart. The cover band fell apart, and I was basically thrown out of Wretched Hive because it just wasn't like working for us anymore, and I wasn't as into it as I once was. So we had played a bunch of shows with a Common Crown before I ever joined the band, and I remember my bandmates Matt, Steve, and Jen, and at the time they had this guitar player named Shep, and even their old guitar player that I ended up replacing, Lupo. All really, really good people. Loved hanging out with them. Would always sit down, drink with them, and just shoot the shit with them afterwards. And they had expressed concerns about the guitar player at the time, Lupo, that he wanted to move on. He didn't want to play music anymore. So um, in like the local music scene, as far as I could tell around here, people are generally pretty amicable whenever it's like a split in the band. Like there's never bad blood. And I don't think in any of the bands that I've ever played in, I don't think I've ever really had like bad blood, because I mean like there's no real like big money involved or anything like that. If you're playing in bars or something like that, or in, small town Pennsylvania, there's not big money around here. But it's just cool because it's like you get to see people you like and they like you, and you get to share music with them. It's what I love doing. So um anyways, Lupo wasn't really into the music anymore, so they wanted to move on. And Jen, my singer now, had asked me, "Hey, do you want to come try out for a Common Crowd?" I'm like, "Well, hell yeah!" So there is a video, and I think you could probably still find it if you look it up. They played at this place. It was called Peter B's, and it was like a barn. This place is actually pretty cool. Um, I got drunk there so many times, like way too trashed. But there was a video of them playing at Peter B's, and that's actually where I started learning all the Common Crown stuff. So I learned all their music off of that video to the best of my ability. And they, surely enough, were like, "Hey, let's do it. We want you to be a part of the band." And I was just stoked as could be, because I had immense respect for these people now. And obviously they're like extended family. They were invited to my wedding. I was at their, my singer and bass player's wedding as well. But I joined the band back in 2018, and we, started playing some cool shows. I don't think we did any big openers in my time from about 2018 to 2019. It wasn't until like 2020 and beyond that we really started to get into the national acts. But so we started playing out shows at the time. It was me and the one guitar player, Shep, is on guitars. And yeah, I mean, we were doing really good. Still, back then we were still kind of like, I don't want to say a big deal, but we were a bigger like local regional act, if you will. It's like we had a decent crowd. Definitely nowhere near as big as we are now, but we were kind of, people knew who we were because my bass player has a good reputation, my drummer's a really, really good reputation. So we started playing out, and then in 2019 we went into the studio and we started to record the Reckoning EP, which is the first musical piece I ever put out in like a whole concentrated order. If You Want, funny enough, which we released as a single later after The Reckoning, was actually the first song I ever recorded professionally. So we put out the Reckoning EP in 2020, in February of 2020, no less. And we had shows lined up all over this side of the country. I was so freaking stoked. And of course, we released CD in February 2020. We're like, man, this year is going to be freaking awesome. We're just going to crush it. And the whole world shut down. The whole world changed a month later. But I'm maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself. But basically, from there, things continue to get better. Shep was no longer, or we moved on from Shep, and then we had Jay in the band, and now Brandon is our current guitar player, and we just played some absolutely incredible shows this past weekend. But back in, I want to say 2018 was the first year that I really like knew what Rock for Life was. Like I knew there were events, like there were gigs that were associated with Rock for Life that I went to, but I wasn't quite familiar with the charity. So 2018, my drummer Matt approaches us, my band Wretched Hive, about playing Rocktoberfest, and I didn't really know anything about it, so we go there to play it. And I remember, we it's like in the middle of nowhere, right? So Pennsylvania is pretty much like you got Pittsburgh, you got Harrisburg, you got Philadelphia, and you have a whole shitload of woods and just nowhere. So we go to the Lisbon Ball Field, which is not where Rock for Life is hosted anymore, but it's like the middle of nowhere, and then there's a big ass stage. And we played, and it was one of the coolest things I ever did. I remember I was 22 at the time, I want to say. Just I had the time of my fucking life. There's a video or a picture of me and my guitar player Mike where I'm holding a bottle of Crown into his mouth, and we both have our guitars on, and just the lights are on us. It looked perfect. And we all got hammered. We were, passing around a bottle of Fireball. This is like this pre 2020, so nobody was gay about it. But it was just so memorable. I had such a good time, and I knew from there that this was truly something special. So Rock for Life started like 25 years ago. Yeah, it was 25 years ago. And this was by Matt and Steve, my drummer and bass player, and they've been doing these charities ever since, giving money to kids in need, kids who um, got a bad luck of the draw, so to speak. I just want to make sure I pull this up so that way I can share it. And I've kind of showed this a little bit throughout the last couple weeks, but once again, this cause is really important to me, so I feel it's necessary to show good stuff because this is, I think, what it's about. Let me see here. So yeah, Rock for Life concert series. I've been blessed enough to play with these guys, or these events for the last 6 years, 6 or 7 years. Um, and we did our show Friday night to a pretty decent crowd. And for those listening, make sure you go to Rock for Life. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, rockforlifeconcert.com to go to the charity. I just have the page pulled up here, as you can see. They have the donate, the events, recipient, press, videos, photos, blogs, all that stuff up in the upper right hand corner. So the page is pretty easy to navigate. I believe the donate takes you right to the charity. But in 2018, yeah, we played Rocktoberfest, and then from there on out, kind of every single band I've been a part of, we would generally play, like they used to do 3 events throughout the summer. I would generally, my one cover band would play one of them, and then we would get thrown on them every here and there. And then when I joined a Common Crown, we started headlining the one Friday night, and then this year and last year, I think we both played Friday night, and they're like 2-day festival events where just a whole bunch of bands come together for this awesome cause. People camp out, there's vendors and stuff like that, and we just play music and have a really, really good time. And it's been some of the best memories of my entire life, to be completely honest with you. um, I've loved doing this kind of stuff because not only is it a good cause, but I mean, just to there's something in the air. And if you haven't been to like a live concert venue, I can't explain this, but and maybe it's because I'm just like an extroverted person and I love spending time around other people, but like when you go to a live music event, it is undeniable that there's just something about it. There's something about, people coming together, and you're not worried about politics, you're not worried about this, you're not worried about that. We're all here for entertainment. And this is kind of like what I think strikes at the heart of like sports and stuff too. And why, despite the fact that I could give a fuck less about sports, I think they're necessary and important because it's like this apolitical, um, I don't want to say meeting of the minds, but like apolitical event where people get together and you're separating yourself from this kind of space. I think that's healthy. It's cultural, and it transcends all boundaries of left versus right. Like, if you're on Twitter too much and you don't go do stuff like this, I could see why you think the world's ending. But I can tell you after this weekend, it's definitely not. Life is very, very good. You just have to look for it where it's good. But so we played Rock for Life Friday night, my band, A Common Crown, and we've been doing these events, as long as I've been in the band, and I'm pretty sure as long as A Common Crown has been a band, which is about 9 years now, and I've been a part of the band for 5 or 6 years. So, last night we got the awesome opportunity to open up for Hinder. I'm sure I don't have to tell anybody here who Hinder is. So you know what? Maybe let me pull this up here and I'll see if I can kind of skip to a little part of the show. And once again, you can see all these videos if you become a channel member for the lowly price of $2.99 a month. Let me pull that up. Okay, here we go. So this was once again last night. I tried to do my best to get these videos up as soon as possible. But yeah, so it was a pretty lively crowd. As you can see here, the stage was pretty big. And for those listening, there's I don't know what the exact measurements we are, but we were able to fit our scrims, which are like over 6 feet. I think they're 8 feet tall, and like no, they may be 6 feet wide and like 8 feet tall. But anyways, they're pretty big. We were able to fit them on the sides of the stages and have room to walk around them on the sides of the stage. Um, and obviously we have the drums right in the center, and there's a whole setup like with amps, guitars, and everything behind us. I mean, this stage was pretty freaking big. So let me move more towards the end, and I didn't have like a good shot of the crowd, but you could definitely see in the video that there was a lot of people there. I believe there was about 1,000 people actually out there. Pre-show ticket sales were like 840 people. But yeah, so here, let's see, where did I stop it? Slow that down a little bit. Yeah. The sound there was absolutely fantastic. People were into it. We spent a lot of time after the show just bullshitting with people, signing CDs and all this stuff. For those who didn't know, my intro is actually this song in particular, The Reckoning. Alright, pause that. And that's a little teaser for you guys. If you want to become a channel member, you could see that full video. But as you could see there, the venue was pretty packed. Like I said, pre-show sales supposedly were like 840 people. And I remember we were sitting there just kind of shooting the shit because there's like a lower level where all the parking is for the people that are like coming for the show. And then obviously because we were in the opening band up top, we just got to watch people trickle in. And I remember it was probably 5:30 and the gates didn't open until 6:30. It might have even been like 5. And the line started filling up throughout the parking lot. I couldn't tell you how long the parking lot was, but it definitely it fit probably, if I had to put a number on it, probably 30 or 40 cars. So people started trickling in, and the bar, if you're standing on top side of the parking lot, when you look down, the bar, like the inside part was to the left, and then like the lot and the hill that goes up to where we were parked was on the right. People started showing up, and then I would say about like 5:30, it was like almost the entire parking lot, and then that parking lot was full, and they had 2 parking lots rented right up the road where people were parking and walking up. I mean, it was unbelievable. There were so many people there. I called it the pig pen, but if you looked from the stage down, there's a giant fence, and then there's like a light post or 2 posts on each side of the stage, which if you're watching, you saw the video and more like the lights were. I had my camera, my GoPro attached to one of those posts recording us, looking at us. But I called it the pig pen, and there were just so many people there. And we got a half hour set, and I thought we did pretty well. I had like a little bit of an off night, so of course I'm going to be as hard as I can on myself because I have some kind of expectation that I'm going to do a little bit better. But regardless, I thought we played pretty well, and other people seem to think so as well because I sent in our little group chat. But somebody literally found my channel because I shared a video on Thursday night of me doing a playthrough of a couple of our songs, and somebody literally found that video and commented and said, "Hey, I think you guys did better than Hinder," which is like a huge compliment. It was epic, and you made a great point. We were the first band to play on the stage. Yeah, that was pretty cool too. So it was at this place called the Raindrop Inn, which is probably about 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from where I live, in a place called Marion in here in the wonderful state of Pennsylvania, southwestern side. But yeah, we were the first band to ever play their outdoor stage, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize that until we were all done, and I was thinking about it on the way home last night. And yeah, we were literally the first band to ever play that stage because they literally just built it, and this was like their debut opening. It was us and Hinder. So we played first. We got a half hour set, and then Hinder was on next. And I like know all the big songs by Hinder. Get Stoned, Lips of an Angel, She's Gonna Use Me, and I like it. And then there's that one other song. I can't remember what the hell it is, but they played it acoustic. But they put on a pretty awesome show. I didn't know that they actually had a new singer. I thought they still had the same guy, but I mean, it shows you how much I pay attention to them. It's not like I dislike them. It's just I never got into them because they're like mainstream rock. Not that it's like outside of the purview of what I'd listen to. Just never stop and listen to much more of their stuff than just the shit that you heard all over the radio. So, one thing that I thought was really cool, though, that typically national acts have not done, and I don't think it's like out of spite. I think it's just they don't think about it. It's, playing music is their job, much like me fixing cars is my job. They actually gave us a shout out at the end of the set. The singer from Hinder said, give it up for a common crown. And that to me spoke volumes about who those guys are as a band. And I know it's something small, but it shows that at least they knew that we existed and we weren't just like another band that was just there to latch on to them for clout. Um, but I mean, we stuck around for their set, and funny enough, afterwards, I want to say probably like an hour or so after they were done, we actually got to hang out with those guys one on one. We got pictures with them and everything. Actually, I should show that. I don't have best picture, but what the hell am I doing here? Okay. I'll use my band's page for this. Let me see. Pull that up. Just have instead. So we took a pretty cheap band photo real quick. So this is me and the guys. Brandon's in the comments. He's he's on the left. On the center left, Jen's in the middle, Steve's on the right, and then Matt's on the far right. As you can see here, there was lots of people out in front of us. I was pretty stoked. It was awesome. And then as you can see, the stage is pretty wide. I mean, I really like the setup. This was on stage. So as you can see, I'm on the right side, Steve's in the middle, and then Jen's on the far left there. And I think it's a pretty killer shot. And once again, you can see pretty far out into the crowd. And then, of course, this was us with the guys in Hinder, which, is really cool that they were having a band meeting or something like that. Whatever the hell was going on. But they had a band meeting after the show, I guess, just shot the shit in their bus, whatever. And then finally around, I think they were done at like 10. It was probably 10:45. They came out and we just stood on the stage. We got a picture. I know they got pictures with the people who own the venue. And I left shortly after that. But by the way, look, they were, just chatting up everybody else in the band. I talked to them for a few minutes. Like I said, we got a picture with them. And they just genuinely seemed like good guys. I mean, they were super excited. They said that we sounded good, which I mean, generally, like most people say that about bands, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they were being serious. I think they legitimately enjoyed us. I think they probably heard from their bus, or if they were just out walking around, they, overheard us and thought, we sound all right. But obviously we sound decent enough and they liked us enough to shoot the shit with us for, half hour or so afterwards and all that good stuff. But Yeah, it was a pretty remarkable experience. This weekend was undoubtedly one of the best weekends of my entire life. Um, like I said, I wanted this to be a little bit of a shorter show because I feel like I owe my audience um, a show because I didn't do one over the weekend. I wasn't on post zero because um, I did have a bit much to drink Friday night and Saturday night. I polished off probably 15 seltzers Friday night and then 3/4 a bottle of Crown Peach on Saturday night. I didn't drink it all last night, but I didn't get up till super late. My sleep schedule's all fucked up right now, but I'll get it back on track this week. I've been waking up at like 6 to like 8 in the morning, which is like way late for me. But when you're up drinking till like 1 o'clock in the morning, you're not getting up at 4:30. So yeah, I thought this was a really cool show, really cool weekend overall. Rock for Life is just undoubtedly been home to some of the best memories of my entire life. Some of the most memorable shows with just the most incredible people that I've come to know over the last, almost 10 years or so. I know Brandon could speak much more to this than I could, but it's just truly an incredible group of people. And you're always gonna have drama when you get a bunch of people together, but it's pretty rare that like with these local gigs, with the mainstays that we have every single year, that there's ever like ego or bullshit involved. Everybody knows what they're there for. We're not Eddie Van Halen, we're not fucking Sammy Hagar, we're not Billie Eilish. We're just a bunch of local dudes who like to play music, and we're gonna come there, do that, have a good time, have a couple drinks, and then raise some money for a phenomenal cause. So, um, like I said, I just want to get on, give a quick show, and kind of talk about the weekend, talk about the band, chill, Rock for Life, because I think that they deserve all the help that they can possibly get. So make sure you go to rockforlifeconcert.com to donate if you're in the financial position to do so. And if you enjoy this channel's content, feel free to become a member for the lowly price of $2.99 a month. If you want to support my work, once again, you get all Common Crown performances, and then videos that I feel like making, usually like a week early or so. I think that's all I got. 5 till midnight here in about 20 minutes. Um, yeah, it was a phenomenal weekend, and I know after that Hinder show, it felt like a stepping stone. That felt like we moved up a level. And the best part about that whole situation is that this is just the beginning of a new chapter of a Common Crown. And I feel like a new chapter for like my life in general. And I just couldn't be more stoked moving forward about this stuff. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you go to a commoncrown.com, rockforlifeconcert.com. Go over to the 5 till midnight channel if you want to hear us talk shit. I know we're going to be talking about the Chevron deal, and then I think the SCOTUS ruling for Trump. I just have not paid attention to any of that shit. I know that all came out this weekend. Um, I literally tuned out all of it because I was just so excited to play music, and I don't want to think about politics at all. So maybe I'll learn a little bit there. I'll probably be mostly reserved and quiet. Maybe they'll ask me about that shit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you hit all the links below. I'm sure Tiger Fitness is gonna have an awesome 4th of July sale. So make sure you go over to there through the link below whenever that stuff drops. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for listening. And make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all that good stuff, and leave a 5-star review if you're listening on audio podcatcher. And yeah, guys, I guess I should also say Wednesday, Jose Nino from El Nino Speaks is going to be on, and we're going to talk about his activism and kind of his view on the right wing of America today, because I think him and I kind of come at it from the same angle. But regardless, thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, take care.